Well, hello, and welcome to a new episode of The Recipe Reader, brought to you by Storytime in Stephanie's Kitchen, a podcast to whet your appetite, introduce you to tantalizing recipes and cookbooks, and motivate you to try something new. Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I have collected, tested, and curated recipes for over 50 years, playing in the kitchen since the wee age of 8, and finally finding time to deep dive into my vast collection of cookbooks lining my bookshelves. So please, cozy up, pour a glass of wine or beverage of your choice, and enjoy the sweet sounds of recipes and the stories they share. Welcome to another episode of Storytime in Stephanie's Kitchen, where I read to you from one of my hundreds of cookbooks on my own personal bookshelf. I read a recipe aloud so that you can sample it and hopefully recreate it yourself. I will have information for you so that you can find this recipe in its actual form, and I will tell you what cookbook it is from. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have so many cookbooks and I just need to share them with you. It would be so sad for them just to sit on the shelf and never get to be explored by other people. So obviously you can't come to my house. Well, maybe someday you can, but here I'm going to share one recipe, and hopefully it will inspire you to make the recipe and possibly go out and get the cookbook. So this particular cookbook is called Comida Casera, more than 100 vegan recipes from traditional to modern Mexican dishes. This is written by Dora Ramirez, and it is a fairly recent purchase of mine. In fact, the copyright is March 2025, and I think I got it just a few months ago. I saw a mention on Instagram, and I couldn't resist. Although I do have quite a few Mexican-styled cookbooks, this is the first one that is completely vegan. And I really like this cookbook. It is, the recipes are reimagined. They're basic traditional recipes that have been altered or modified, let's say, to make sure that it's accessible for everyone who would like to cook from it. So we're going to start today with the mole poblano, which I recently made for a special celebration dinner. And the mole poblano sauce, the mole, I used jackfruit in one portion of my mole, and then I used shredded chicken in another portion. So you can customize your protein or your texture as needed. And I think it was a pretty good hit. At least I enjoyed it, and it's got a nice kick from all the chilies. So let's go ahead and grab your beverage, put your feet up, or sometimes when I'm listening to things, I'm folding origami. So enjoy, do what you do, but enjoy this recipe. We're going to start with the head notes. This is page 141, Mole Poblano. Mole poblano is the most well-known and celebrated of the moles. It is a rich and complex sauce that is both savory and sweet, fragrant and spicy. Unlike mole negro, mole poblano has no bitter undertones, making it a favorite among people all over the world. While mole dates back to pre-Hispanic times, mole poblano as we know it today was invented in the 17th century after the Spanish arrived. and brought with them bread and spices. Whenever I am asked what my favorite food is, I always answer mole poblano. And after making this recipe, you will see that even though it is a labor of love, it is well worth every minute spent making it. This recipe makes a large amount, but I urge you not to decrease the quantities, as you can freeze the mole for up to 6 months. Serve it over hearty vegetables or make mole poblano enchiladas on page 147. Makes 8 to 10 servings. Total time, 2 hours. Half cup, 118 milliliter avocado oil, divided. 5 dried ancho chilies, 73 grams. Stems and seeds removed. 6 dried mulatto chilies, 77 grams. Stems and seeds removed. 6 dried pasilla chilies, 41 grams. Stems and seeds removed. Half bolillo, or 4-inch 10-centimeter piece of baguette, 61 grams. 1 corn tortilla, 26 grams, cut into quarters. 1/4 cup, 44 grams. Raw peanuts. 1/4 cup, 44 grams, raisins. 1 ripe plantain, 190 grams, peeled and sliced. 7 cups, 1.65 liters, vegetable broth, warm, divided. 3 tablespoons, 30 grams, raw almonds. 3 tablespoons, 30 grams, hulled pumpkin seeds, pepitas. 1/4 cup, 40 grams, sesame seeds. 1 3-inch, 7.5 centimeter Ceylon cinnamon stick, broken into pieces, or half teaspoon ground cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon anise seeds. 1/4 teaspoon coriander seeds. 3 whole allspice berries. 3 whole cloves. 1/8 teaspoon black peppercorns. 1/8 teaspoon dried thyme. 2 medium Roma tomatoes, 125 grams. 1 small white onion, 193 grams, cut into quarters. 3 garlic cloves, 9 grams, peeled. 1 1/2 3-ounce 85 grams tablets Mexican chocolate. 1 teaspoon no chicken bouillon. 2 teaspoons salt. Step 1. Heat 1/4 cup, 59 milliliters of the oil in a large skillet over medium-low heat. Working in batches, fry the chilies for 1 minute on each side or until they become a deep red color and are lightly toasted. Transfer to a medium bowl filled with hot water and let them soak while you toast the rest of the ingredients. In the same skillet, toast the bread and tortilla until golden brown for about 2 minutes on each side. Transfer to a large bowl. Toast the peanuts for 2 to 3 minutes until golden brown. Transfer to the same bowl. Toast the raisins for 1 minute, stirring constantly until they plump up and become a reddish color. Transfer to the bowl. Toast the plantain slices for 2 minutes on each side until golden brown. Transfer to the bowl. Add 2 cups 473 milliliters of the warm vegetable broth to the bowl and let everything soak. Step 3. In a small skillet, toast the almonds over medium heat for 2 to 3 minutes, stirring constantly until they are deeply toasted and begin to crack. Transfer to the bowl with the bread and plantains. Toast the pumpkin seeds for 1 to 2 minutes until they begin to pop and become golden brown. Transfer to the same bowl. Toast the sesame seeds for 2 to 3 minutes until they begin to pop and become golden brown. Transfer to the same bowl. Toast the cinnamon, anise, coriander, allspice, cloves, peppercorns, and thyme for about 1 minute, or until they are fragrant. Transfer to the bowl. Step 4. Preheat the broiler to high. Step 5. Place the tomatoes, onion, and garlic on a rimmed baking sheet and broil for 3 minutes, flipping them halfway through or until they soften and are covered with black spots. Transfer them to the bowl with the nuts and spices. Step 6. Drain the chilies, but reserve 1 cup, 236 milliliters of the soaking liquid. Transfer the chilies and reserved soaking liquid to a blender and puree until smooth. Pass through a fine mesh sieve into a medium bowl. Step 7. Transfer the contents of the large bowl to the blender and puree until smooth. Then pass through a fine mesh sieve into another medium bowl. Step 8. Heat the remaining 1/4 cup, 59 milliliters oil in a large pot over medium-low heat. Reduce the heat to low and pour in the chili puree while stirring, taking care as it might splash. Simmer the chili puree for 10 minutes while constantly stirring, or until it thickens and pulls away from the sides of the pot. The puree will continue to splatter as it cooks, so I recommend you use a splatter screen if you have one. Step 9. Pour in the second puree and simmer for 15 minutes while constantly stirring until it thickens and darkens to a dark brown color. Be careful with the splattering. Pour in the remaining 5 cups, 1.2 liters vegetable broth, chocolate, bouillon, and salt, and bring to a simmer. Simmer for 15 to 20 minutes until the sauce thickens enough to coat the back of a spoon. Time-saving tip. Day 1, do steps 1 through 7 and store the purees in separate airtight containers in the fridge. Day 2, do steps 8 and 9. Variation. Oil-free. Dry toast the chilies, tortilla, bolillo, peanuts, and raisins instead of frying them. Bake the plantain at 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 220 degrees Celsius, for 10 minutes. Omit the oil when cooking the chili puree. That is the end of our recipe. And now I challenge you to try this fantastic, delicious mole. It did take quite some time to make, but the steps are very clear, very accessible, and the ingredients are easy to find. I enjoyed making it. I absolutely love working on projects like this, and I hope you have an opportunity to try this yourself. As you can see, we have just scratched the surface of this amazing collection of recipes. If you would like more information about this cookbook, please take a look at the notes I have provided. And most of all, please join me for our next delicious recipe read aloud here at Storytime in Stephanie's Kitchen. As always, keep reading and cooking.